Our first activity today is yes to everything.
Sounds good.
All right. No matter what question I ask, the answer has to be yes. And let me grab the 1 minute clock. You
Let's
have
sign up
one
for
minute
this.
to respond. We're going to start easy. And
Okay, sounds
then
good.
the questions will get
I'll
progressively a
get
little
harder.
bit more
Oh,
difficult. And
okay.
of course, the final question is the tough one.
Ooh,
All
okay.
right. So we got a minute on the clock. Oops. You get that. All right. Your first question is: sandwiches. Are they the greatest invention ever?
Oh, absolutely. All right. Should we just get started?
Sure.
All right.
You speak and I'll start the clock.
Deal. Sounds good. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I am a tremendous fan of balanced nutrition. And if I were to choose just one invention in all of human history that has balanced out our nutritional palette, what would it be? Would it be the Canada Food Guide? Certainly not. Would it be contemporary cooking methods? Absolutely not. I am looking at a classic. And that classic, without a doubt, must be the sandwich. I argue that the sandwich is the greatest invention of all time because at once it channels carbs through bread, it channels protein through meats or substitutions, vegetables, flavor, all in a sort of handheld package. I think that this is one, an easily accessible meal for so many people. I think we see it come up over and over again across cultures, which proves they must be doing something right. And it's healthy to boot if you do it correctly. And so I argue that from a cultural, nutritious, delicious perspective, sandwiches are the greatest invention of all time.
Excellent. I'm glad you
Thank
didn't
you
leave
very
out
much.
delicious.
Mm,
Yes, excellent. Well done. Yeah, and we have cold sandwiches, hot
this
sandwiches,
is true.
cultural. Every culture has
As their version of
their
the
kind of
sandwich.
angle on it. Yes. All right. Next question.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it gets better than that one.
The
What is
Rock.
Dwayne The Rock? Oh, I
Do you know
can't
who
say I
this
know.
is?
I do.
Do
I do. I've got a
Okay, good.
minimal knowledge about him, but we're gonna put that
All right.
into
Dwayne The Rock. Let me just give you a little bit of background and
wrestler actor. That's what I know.
wrestler, actor, exactly. But not just wrestler and actor. Dwayne The Rock Johnson became basically rose to the top of the wrestling federation that he was part
Mm,
of, and he was one of the great superstars. And then he made the transition into Hollywood, just much like Arnold Schwarzenegger,
hmm
who went from bodybuilding to becoming a movie star, an action star, and then went on to be governor of
Mm,
California.
that's a good point.
Now,
There's a trajectory there.
right. And so he rose to the top of being in the wrestling world, and
hmm
then he became a superstar, is still is making blockbuster movies,
hmm
and he actually has considered throwing his hat in the ring for the 2024 presidential run.
Oh my
So,
God.
my question to you, just based on that limited knowledge of him, would Dwayne The Rock Johnson make a good president? You don't really know him, but you know
We're
now
gonna
a
go
little
with
bit
it.
of him.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, let's do it. I picture in my head a president. And what does that person look like right now? Well, right now, we're looking at a career politician who is disconnected from the industries that Americans care about. I'm thinking about a person who is so wrapped up in institutional corruption and all of the blockages that limit American politics. And I can think of someone who escapes that framework, and that is without question Dwayne The Rock Johnson. If we consider the career of Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example, we see the trajectory that The Rock could follow. We go wrestler, we go actor, we go politician. And why is this such an effective trajectory that has worked out so well for Arnold Schwarzenegger? Well, it is because through wrestling, you learn restraint and strength. Through acting, you learn empathy and emotion. And I think that mobilizing these skills as the president of the United States, as someone that audiences and the American public already connect to, I think he would prove to be an incredibly original and effective leader.
Awesome. Well done.
Okay,
Well,
thank
when
you.
you say it like that, I just want to believe it. Like, I would vote for
I
him.
hope so, yeah.
He'd also just project strength, which seems to be the number one criteria for
I
president.
guess.
It's like as long as you seem strong, you're going to get votes,
Yeah.
and so you have to choose a candidate that's viable. And you could be as smart as as anything, but if you don't project strength, you really don't stand a chance.
Hmm.
In any case, not to say that he's not smart. I'm sure he's smart as a whip.
Hmm.
I've heard him. Okay, let's move on from Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Can't give him too
Okay,
much praise.
are you ready
I'm
for the
ready.
tough one?
Okay. Oh, is this the tough one?
Oh,
Ooh,
yes.
here we go.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. All right, let me set up the clock here.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
Ooh, the suspense.
People, are they inherently evil?
Oh, and we're saying yes. Oh no. This is just what we were talking about earlier. How do you argue the other side? All right. Are people inherently evil? Unfortunately, to our audience today, I am going to have to say yes. Now, I think the evidence is all around us when we look historically at what people have done to one another, when we look in a contemporary way at the ways in which the systems that we have built, economic systems, political systems, are hurting each other to this day. I think that there can be very little doubt that people have harmed each other. However, I think that there's still hope in this, system, because even if people are inherently evil, we still see people going out of their way to do things that are good for one another. And so what does that mean? It means that even if we have a sort of inherent tendency towards evil, we can choose to be better than that. And I think, isn't that better than just being inherently good and then just being good to one another because that's your nature? Isn't it better to have, a worse off nature, but choose to be good to one another? I think that is a real hope for humanity.
Wow, excellent. Well done.
That was a
I
toughie. You
like
weren't
that
kidding.
angle. You're right. It's a little bit better to become good from the
By choice,
platform of
yeah.
being evil than just to be born evil, which is just a random luck.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, a lot. This is the stuff of philosophy, and a lot of
that's true.
philosophers argue that people are born good, and then we learn to be bad, or we become corrupted by the world.
Yeah,
And other
Rousseau.
philosophers argue that we're all born evil,
Yes.
and we learn to be good, and through the positive influences in our life. And what do you think? Are people the product of their circumstances in life, or the product of their decisions, or a little of both?
I think both. I think both, but I think that there's very little room for choice within people's circumstances sometimes. And so I think that we should focus more on the context in which people live and then understand the decisions that were available to them within that context.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that brings us to the end of Yes to Everything. And that